What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another awesome Wednesday edition of Gaming News at Noon. I guess it's the only edition because we only do it one day a week. Every week it's Wednesday. We're happy to be back for Gaming News at Noon. We have some incredible topics. And, of course, I have my co-host with the co-most, Mr. Boomstick XL. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Salty? First of all, no shortage of news. And you know what? I'm going to say this. We're the best damn show on Wednesday afternoon, that is. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on. But yes, this is the best place to find two passionate, very honest gamers who give you 20-plus topics in an hour and a half. Can't find it anywhere. Let's get going, dude.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, we had some financial calls going on in the industry. So there's a lot of EA news, a lot of Nintendo news, just a lot of news in general. A lot of people would say this was kind of a weak week when it comes to gaming news, but I kind of counter that argument. I just want to know how the audio sounds real quick, get a mic check, because I am using a new mixer for my mic. Just want to make sure we're good there. How's everybody doing in the chat? Let's give some shout outs real quick. Dreadpool was the first one in here.
He usually is.
Yes, we appreciate you, my guy. I know he's trying to improve his setup for live streaming as well, which is awesome. Novad Seller was in here. Who else? Crazy Greek Dude. Shout out to you, man. I know you're going through some stuff. East Texas Alex, all that good stuff. I am not seeing the chat. Just let us know how the audio quality is, and then we'll start off with the first topic. All right, so EA. They seem to always be in the news for the wrong reasons. Interesting calls happening within the EA hierarchy with their financials and everything like that. They're trying to explain some things with their investors, okay? So if you guys didn't know, Anthem it didn't meet expectations, okay? They're just going to say that right now. Majority of their sales came digitally, and the financials there are just not good for them. So what is happening now is it's forcing EA to change their approach when it comes to the releases of their games, and I'm kind of questioning their strategy here because it looks like they're going to be moving towards a soft launch model akin to mobile releases, where you'll get chance to see how the potential community breathes before the game is actually out, which is interesting because I don't think that gamers in the console realm are going to like that too much. What do you think, Boom? Like, are we supposed to be treated like mobile gamers now? I don't know what's going on.
Look, when you talk about EA and you talk about Activision, my skin starts to crawl. For a lot of reasons. I have been a long-time gamer as well as you. You're 30-plus years gaming.
Yep.
And we've seen the rise and fall of many corporations and companies. Mm-hmm. And, as these companies get bigger, both of them, and more specifically EA, they start to get more slimier, if you will. Mm-hmm. And this approach, it is, I got to be honest with you, I took a look, I grazed through the article you sent me, and it's a bit of a head scratcher, to be honest, Salty, because no, we're not mobile gamers. The mobile market is nothing like the gamer market. I mean, you can be both. You can enjoy game. I mean, I still play Words with Friends and Subway Surfer. I actually really dig those when I'm in a doctor's office, or I'm kind of stuck in traffic and it's not moving, or I'm just somewhere where I'm a little bored. But we're not the mobile, people that they're trying to aim for, and to treat regular gamers, diehard gamers, like a mobile person or a mobile audience. I don't know, dude. I think they're asking for trouble.
Yeah, it's weird because the line's kind of being blurred between gaming, mobile gaming. Like, these companies are kind of treating gamers as one big thing, and I don't think that you can do this, at this point, because I feel like these categories of gamers are completely different, like mobile gamers compared to console gaming. So then when we have these type of releases, I don't know, I think it's just another way to release broken games or unfinished games, like soft launches. When you say that, or you say, okay, we're doing a beta, it gives you an excuse. It gives you an excuse to charge a full price for an unfinished game, and I'm not about that life. But it just sounds like EA is just trying to make excuses for their failings. Let's be honest. Anthem released too soon. It wasn't ready. It was buggy. It was a mess. So to say, oh, we need to rethink our launch process and do soft launches. No, maybe you guys need to approach it in a way where you release a game that's actually ready, right? Or something to that process. Not say, hey, we're going to do soft launches like mobile. We're going to stealth launch these games out so we don't get as much backlash from the community. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, can we get a finished product? Is that so hard to ask? I don't know. EA just seems to be putting their feet in their mouths. Obviously, this was a financial call, and it wasn't, obviously they know that this is going to get out to the public. But, man, when I read this, because it stood out like a sore thumb, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I read what their strategy is going forward, it just seems like it's not a good thing, and I don't want this to be a trend in the industry. Like, let's keep these things separate. Chat, what do you guys think of this potential model from EA, treating their launches as soft launches or mobile game type launches? Do you think it's just an excuse for what they're doing and their failings there? Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. So, surprisingly enough, Battlefield 5, the Firestorm mode, was the biggest Battlefield live service event ever. Apparently, it caused 60% growth in active players week over week. So I thought Firestorm was one big fail, but apparently it's done pretty well for EA, and they're actually planning on supporting this game mode for the foreseeable future. Did you get a chance to play Firestorm, and what do you think of this, results here?
Here's the thing. No, I have not played Firestorm. I tend to kind of shy away from Battle Royale. I played Apex Legends. I enjoyed it. I really have no ambition to go back simply because that genre is just not for Boom. Yeah. Though I am going to say this. First of all, I'm excited for DICE. I'm excited for EA that this is not a complete failure. I didn't pick it up. When the game goes into the vault with EA Access, I'll play it. But most analysts, Salty, picked this to fail. There were a lot of people in the camp that this is not going to do well. Battlefield, listen, is still a very popular online shooter. And, Battle Royale is, the hottest thing since sliced bread. And their take on it is a bit unique. Where people get caught on fire. I think it's interesting. I like the vehicle aspect, and I'm actually not as surprised as many.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, this brought back about 1 million players to Battlefield. So Battlefield 5 had rough launch as well. I think it was due to the fact that they chose close to, they did World War I and then they did World War II. Those are kind of similar there. But I think it's a successful thing when it brings back this amount of people and the growth that you're seeing in active players week over week. So Battle Royale, you could be a fan of it or not, but I think in general for these multiplayer online communities, it's good for consistency and active player bases. I've talked about this before. I've stated that if we do, crossplay is for these developers. The cross progression situation is for the players because it's not an easy thing to maintain player bases online. You could have a huge game like a Battlefield series lose active player base within months of launch. It's hard to maintain players' attention in this space in gaming, to be honest, because the next big thing is just around the corner, so it's interesting to see going forward if this is a strategy that will be used to maintain player bases and shooters going forward. Put a Battle Royale in there to maintain your player base and maybe bring people back to the game. I don't know. I thought this was going to be a big fail for EA because I just thought it was delayed too much. It was being done by a different developer and et cetera, but it seems to be successful. So let us know if you guys still play this mode. I haven't really played it much. There was huge load times. It was fun, to be honest with you. I did a review on my channel, but it just didn't move the meter for me. I don't know if Battle Royale is kind of dying out for me, but this just didn't do it for us.
Getting a little long in the tooth in a very short time, Salty. I gotta be honest, there's too many of them.
Yeah, there's just too many, and it just gets repetitive, to be honest. Unless they have frequent updates. I like playing Fortnite with my daughter, and that's pretty much the only reason why I would play it. But they're the kings for a reason. Their content updates are second to none. They do live service things where they're doing concerts in real life, and Marshmello was there, and people are seeing the world change. It's crazy how Epic does that game so well, and it's just, I don't know, not a lot of developers or publishers can keep up with that. So shout out to Fortnite and Epic, man. They do it big, and they continue to do it. Continuing with some EA stuff, their biggest game is coming to mobile. Not surprised about this at all. Apex Legends is going to be coming to your mobile phone. So if you guys are big Apex Legends fans, get ready, because one of the biggest games of 2019 is ready to be launching on mobile. So in this financial earnings call, they revealed that EA is forecast to net about $300 million to $400 million in the fiscal year 2020, without the assumption of any contributions this year from any future mobile versions of the game in the Chinese market. So they're making tons of money off of Apex Legends. When this game came out, it was a bad time for EA. Extremely bad time for EA, and this game actually boosted their stocks, and it went through the roof. So, what do you think of this, man? Apex Legends not coming to the Nintendo Switch, because they just said that anytime soon, but it's going to be coming to mobile. I guess it's more profitable, obviously, for them to do this mobile route. What do you think, man?
I mean, look, PUBG is mobile, right? Yeah. Fortnite is mobile. They're making money hand over fist. Kids have phones in their hands. The mobile market has phones, capable phones. The older market for, of course, like PUBG. This is a no-brainer, and it's basically just going to print money for them. And I said this from the beginning when Apex Legends launched. What this is going to do, first of all, it re-put Respawn back on the map, if you will. Vince Zampella, we know his pedigree. He came from Infinity Ward. He created Infinity Ward and got screwed, right? Made Titanfall 1, made Titanfall 2. Apex Legends completely out of nowhere, and it blew everyone away. It's still, listen, it may not ever beat Fortnite, let's just say, but it's still making money hand over fist, and all you can do is cheer them on, because I'm a big fan of Respawn. I'm a big fan of Vince Zampella, and all this means for me, Salty, is that we're going to get a Titanfall 3.
Yeah, man, the more money they make for this developer, the better chances you have of getting an extremely polished version of Titanfall 3, and that's exciting. I just want to know, anybody in the chat, do you guys play these mobile versions of these popular games? I mean, I don't know if it's just because I'm old and I'm not used to touch screens, like I just can't see myself trying to play Apex Legends in any form or fashion. I would just, because I tried to play mouse and keyboard, and it felt like I was a newborn walking again, okay? That's how it feels, because I've been doing a controller with sticks in my hands for my whole life, and that's like muscle memory, It's like shooting a basketball your whole life, and then you're told to do it a different way. It's your body fights against that or something. I can't do the mobile. I could do the mobile thing for certain games, but like the first-person shooters, I don't know how I would ever do that. But I shout out to all the young kids out there, because I'm sure that they could pick up a tablet or a phone and probably do better than me on Apex Legends, which is insane to me. And we know that there's the market is huge for that. If you guys didn't know, like Nintendo, we're going to talk about this story later on, but China is huge for gaming, but it's huge for mobile and it's huge for PC. They're not really console gamers, and we'll talk about that in a story, but they're trying to target these games. A lot of the reason why they're pushing this into the mobile space is for China, because it's opening up for that specific mode of gaming, so they'll kind of have to change it a little bit for like the blood and stuff like that. But an Apex Legends doesn't really have blood, so it can make tons of money over in China and places like that. So that's why you're seeing a push towards mobile and cloud gaming, is because certain sectors of the world, that's huge. Like, that's what they do. Like in China, mobile gaming and PC, those are kings over there. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these huge big players put all their big franchises on mobile. So it is what it is. I'm just an old fart, I guess. I don't get it, man. I don't see myself ever trying to play these games ever, unless I had a Bluetooth connection with my controller, but it is what it is. Let's move on to some more EA news. Star Wars The Jedi Fallen Order is gameplay, man. We're going to get some footage. If you guys didn't know, they showed some stuff off at Star Wars Celebration, but it was just kind of a CG trailer. It got me pumped up, but so they're going to have an EA Play event on June 7th, and that's when we're going to be seeing some juicy footage of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's going to be at E3. If you guys didn't know, EA is not going to do a traditional presser. They're going to be doing this EA Plays event. So that should be... I'm kind of disappointed in the amount of big players that have pulled out of the game and having presentations at E3, let's be honest. No EA, no Sony. But what do you think, man? Are you excited for this gameplay reveal? Are you excited for the game? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I have to make a super ridiculously dope announcement. I'm going well, besides going to E3, I got my ticket for EA Play. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be checking out exclusively the Star Wars title. I'm going to get hands-on play with that. I'm going to be, taping it for the channel. I'm going to be there at 12:30 that Saturday, checking it out. I already locked in my interview. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to talk with the developer, but I'm definitely going to play the game, and I'm going to show off the gameplay on my channel. I am freaking stoked. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I saw it in the theaters in 77, and I have been hooked ever freaking since. And just talking about Star Wars gives me goosebumps because I'm such a big fan. But this game in particular, man, again, it's Respawn. It's a single-player, story-driven narrative, and it's Star Wars. I mean, what's not to freaking get excited about, Salty?
Yeah, I was a little bit down on Star Wars, to be honest, but I'm like one of the biggest Star Wars fans out there, so you can't keep me down, right? The thing is man, with this latest addition to the Skywalker saga, I mean, J.J. Abrams, he's kind of pulling out all the stops here. You had the Emperor at the end laughing, and it kind of connects some of the things and the storylines there. They're having the new Disney streaming service with The Mandalorian. You have the Clone Wars series finishing up. Man, there's a lot of good things going on with Star Wars, so there's a lot of naysayers out there too saying Disney destroyed Star Wars and this and that, but I'm not on that train. I'm on the positive train. I think this is going to be one of those games that we look back and say, man, this is a Star Wars game. This is the kind of Star Wars game that I've been looking forward to. The things that they've been saying about it are the things that I've been wanting in a game, being a Jedi in this time period with the Sith. They're hunting you down. You got to, the combat's going to be similar to Dark Souls with not like Dark Souls, like super hard or whatever, but everything they're saying I'm eating up, so it's going to be amazing. I can't believe you're going to be playing that, man. You got to tell me everything that you experienced there. Maybe you can get some juicy footage, man. And
I hope they let me take it, dude. I have a new GoPro that I just bought. I'm messing with right now. I got everything ready to go. I'm hoping that I could at least tape what I'm playing, because it's a big EA event. I'm sure they're going to allow it because they want good coverage, and I at least get two minutes with one of the devs. That would be freaking awesome for not only for me as a gamer, but for the channel. I'm really stoked, dude.
Yeah, I've never. So I was planning on going to this event, but I'm having a kid in July, so
Yeah.
my wife's like, "Yeah, you're not going." So I'll probably be there 2020 next year, more
And
than likely.
yes, I would like to meet in real life, dude. That would be awesome. I can't wait to meet the community. I'm so pumped, man.
Yeah, dude, you guys make sure if you're going to EA, meet up with Boom. He's a good guy, and he'll be there and all that stuff. So look forward to all those juicy videos coming from E3. That's exciting. Let's move on to the next topic. So from this financial call, another bit of information is coming out. So a new Need for Speed is going to be coming out, and a new Plants vs. Zombies is going to be coming out in 2019. I'm not a big racing fan, so I'm not too excited about a new Need for Speed. I know a lot of people like that series because it's more arcadey. I do like the Plants vs. Zombies series.
The kids definitely dig that for sure.
Yes, my kid plays the second one. She loves that game, so for sure we'll probably pick up the next installment. If you guys didn't know, Plants vs. Zombies is pretty cartoony, but they use they use the Frostbite engine, I believe, and they use game modes that you can see in Battlefield. It's fun, man. In my opinion, it's fun. What do you think of these game announcements for EA?
Here's the thing. I've always been a big Need for Speed fan, but man, the last couple have been, they just haven't been good. You know what I would like? I know this might be, I may get a few boos for this. In my opinion, and for Need for Speed, I think that the first one for which was the launch title for the Xbox 360, Most Wanted, the original, I wish they would just do that in HD. Give us from the ground up. That was amazing. The second one was pretty good also, but the first one, nothing has beaten it since. Plants vs. Zombies, on the other hand, 1 was good, 2 was exceptional. I'm really wondering how they're gonna do 3 because I like it. I don't play it a lot, but what I did play, I really enjoyed it, and like I said, the kids definitely dig it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Some people, it's not their bag, and I understand, but I'm a big, I don't know. I used to draw cartoons back in the day, and I'm a big artistic guy, so I appreciate kind of the art style and creativity that they do with their games, the character models, and all kinds of stuff that they're throwing in there. Man, I appreciate that. I don't know if I'll get it day one, but I'll definitely be picking up this game. Let us know if you guys like either of those games. Need for Speed, do you think it's kind of long in the tooth? Are you excited for the upcoming game for Need for Speed or Plants vs. Zombies? We want to know. So let's get to the next topic. Anthem players are declaring the game dead after a long period of suffering, delays, and issues. I was looking online, and Jez, if you guys don't know who he is, he's part of Windows Central. He was saying, yeah, that the communities on Reddit are very active for games that were considered failures at launch, like Fallout 76 and Sea of Thieves and some of these other games. But when it comes to Anthem, there's not too much activity there, and a lot of people are declaring this game dead, considering that some of the lead developers for Anthem are moving on to Dragon Age Inquisition. What do you think, man? Do you think this game is able to rebound like some of these games, like No Man's Sky and Sea of Thieves and Fallout 76, or do you think Anthem is just kind of a lost cause at this point?
Well, I certainly hope it's not a lost cause. Again, I have not really played the game simply because I was waiting for that, Taken King kind of moment that Destiny 1 had. And, and then, Destiny 2 was like that. And the Division, update 1.8 changed the entire game. And obviously, I'm hoping that happens for Anthem, where I can actually, because you got to understand, there are a lot of really great things about Anthem. Graphically, it looks amazing. The way that the javelins handle are perfect, dude. The way that their weapons work, the way their supers work. Everything. There are a lot of really good things to build on. The problem with a lot of these looter shooters, as they've been coined in 2019, is the fact that there isn't a lot to do. The story is a little confusing, very much like Destiny. And when you're pulling lead developers off, I don't necessarily think it's such a terrible thing per se, Salty, because the game is done, right? It is what it is, right? And they have to do updates. Now, do they need the major developers to do updates? Well, I hope not. I hope that their developing crew is talented enough where they don't need the lead producer to do updates to make the game better. I mean, that should have been in effect already. So is it terrible? Well, I mean, it's concerning for sure. But I think before they move on to Dragon Age 4 and anything else, they kind of got to get their house in order, so to speak.
Yeah, the reason why a lot of the subreddits declaring this game dead is the one. It's just there's a lot of weird things going on over there. First of all, like in the financial call when they're saying that they're going to be changing their game launches based off of this game, that's not a good thing. The lead developers leaving, the roadmap being changed, extremely changed, delayed. It's just there's a lot of bad signs. I don't want Anthem to fail. It wasn't one of my most anticipated games for 2019, the most anticipated game
mine too.
For myself, and then obviously we know how that panned out, so it's not like I want it to fail, but it's just weird going forward with this game. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to support it? I hope they do, but EA has a history of pulling the plug on stuff that they don't see is going to be in their best interest, and they do it pretty quick. So hopefully they're not going to be doing it with this game, and hopefully the subreddit is wrong. I know a lot of people in the comments section in the chat are saying that the game is definitely not dead, because I know a lot of people that are still playing it, and that's good, man. I hope they find a way to pull it out of the ashes like a lot of games, because let's be honest, lots of games have done this. They've been quote-unquote dead games, or games that were failures at launch. Like Sea of Thieves, if you go into that game, I love that game. First of all, I put so many hours. I don't even know how. You can't even check your hours on there, but I put so many hours into that quote-unquote boring game, blah, 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 and they just did that annual update, and I'm loving the game. So don't let people tell you what to like or dislike. I'm just worried a little bit about the future is all, because BioWare is a mess. BioWare is a complete mess.
Yeah, they're in trouble, dude.
And this game, it just seems like it was, I don't know, the vision was not the vision was all over the place, and you can see it with this game. So I hopefully if they pass it off, I think it was to BioWare, the one in Texas. It's Austin, maybe. Anyway,
Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Hopefully they can do some good things with it, but we shall see. Anyway, so 12 new Star Wars games added to the EA Origin Vault. Just wanted to let you guys know, because I'm a Star Wars fan. Get that Star Wars news out there for you guys. Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D, Star Wars Dark Forces, Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, Star Wars X-Wing Alliance, Star Wars Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith, Star Wars Galactic Battleground Saga, Star Wars Starfighter, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, and Star Wars Rebellion. Out of that list, boom, what's your favorite Star Wars game out of that list?
Dude, this is going to be a cheesy answer, but I don't care.
Yeah.
The pod racing
really?
Freaking awesome, man. I remember playing that on any system I could. I remember playing it on the was it the Super Nintendo? No, it wasn't Super Nintendo. I'm not sure what console it was on. It might have been Super Nintendo. I don't know. It was great. I got to be honest with you. I every time I hear about EA Origins Access, I get a little jelly. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm not a PC dude, and I have been saying because Microsoft was an early adopter, and because there's mouse and keyboard support, and PC is Xbox and Xbox is PC, we should have EA Origins Access.
Yes,
dude. $100, $99 gets you every EA game that launches for the year. The value is astronomical. You're a numbers dude, right? Okay, so you appreciate when you save money, especially when you have to count coin, like we all do, right? If money's not growing on trees. I just wish that this was an E3 announcement, that they say, hey, guess what? EA Origin Access coming to Xbox. I am signing up day and freaking date.
Yeah, it's weird that we don't have the option for that, and I don't know if that will be coming at a later date. But this is a perfect segue into one of the bigger news stories. EA Access game subscription service is finally coming to PS4. This is kind of a juicy topic because I want to talk about some of the things that have transpired over the generation. First of all, PlayStation was full-heartedly rejecting the service, and based off of it's $4.99 a month, they said it wasn't a good value for their gamers. But surprise, surprise, they changed their stances, which they do on a lot of things. It's still the same price. There's more games, obviously, but one of the things that people don't take into consideration is Xbox gamers get considerably a larger amount of games to play because there's backwards compatible titles in there, which PlayStation doesn't have. So in essence, they're getting less games because they don't have backwards compatibility. What do you think of this news here with EA Access finally come over to PS4? Why do you think it changed, and what are your thoughts in general?
I think what's happening is a changing of the guard, Salty. And what I mean by that is, Sony is going to be Sony, right? I don't anticipate change overnight. But I am going to say this. This is a big deal. It's a big deal because there are near 100 million PS4s out there. And if you go back to when go back to EA when they offered it to Sony, their knuckleheads in charge at the time said that it was not of value to their customers. And I got to tell you, look, I'm not a mathematician. I'm just a dude who enjoys playing games and talking about them behind a mic. And if you don't think the EA Vault with all of those titles in there is worth $30 a year, you need to have your head examined to go back to school to learn numbers, because the value is, again, astronomically in favor of the gamer who picks it up for $30 a year. And now they're offering it to their Sony guys. And I got to be honest with you, a lot of flip-flopping within the pony community. And I'm not saying Sony guys. If you're a Sony guy, you're okay.
Yeah, there's a difference, right?
There's a big difference between the pony community that just go out of their way to shit on everyone's day just because they can. And they have been like, "Wow, yes, EA Access." These are the same folks that were dumping on this service and Xbox fans. You know what? Like I said, good on the PlayStation community for getting it. I'm excited for them. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not running out to buy it yet, but I think I'm going to wind up doing it because, again, $60 for 2 services for the entire year. I play a lot on my PlayStation. I just don't play third-party stuff, so I have to, see if it's going to be worth it for me to get. But if you're a Sony player, if you own a PlayStation 4, you don't have, you have PS Now, which is it is what it is. But for $30 a year, I highly recommend getting EA Access if you are a Sony player.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good value, and I don't know. I guess PlayStation determined that it was a good time to start up the service. Like I said, the price didn't change. The games lineup obviously is bigger. But it's interesting to kind of look at that, and I think it was because they were starting PlayStation Now, and that was their baby back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was initial services. They don't want a competition to the subscription service, so I can kind of see where they're going from there, because back then Xbox Game Pass didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, on the Microsoft side, they didn't have like a competition. So yeah, EA Access, let's do it. So from that respect, I think it stems from them wanting to get their PlayStation Now service going, and then I think it's established now, and they see like how much value. I don't think the value thing was ever an issue. I think it was just an excuse. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I agree.
It is what it is. I think I'm happy for PlayStation players out there, man. It's a good service. If you aren't, you don't worry about buying your games day and date. You can get tons of games in there, man, for not a lot of money. They have Battlefield in there. They have Star Wars. stores. They have Madden in there, and they drop pretty consistently, and it doesn't take a long time for them to drop games into the vault. So I think that's exciting news for gaming in general. We'll see if they keep that $4.99 price point, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, people love to raise those subscription fees, and we have a lot of subscription fees, you know? Like, if you look at it, we have games we have Xbox Live, we have the subscription there, Netflix, we have EA Access, we have this and that. It's just, man, lots of subscription fees going on around there. And continuing with Sony news, State of Play will debut a new project tomorrow, so it's only going to be 10 minutes long, which is strange to me. But
bit of a head scratcher.
Yes, I think that it's just with the blowback that they got from the first event, I think they want to lower expectations. So I guess a 10-minute presentation does that for people. I mean, if you say, hey, this event's 10 minutes long, I can't even get an intro and an outro done in 10 minutes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you guys going to actually show there? But there's been some interesting rumors out there. So they're going to reveal a new project tomorrow, which is it's supposedly supposed to be a game, but let's be honest, from the last State of Play, that could be a VR game for all we know. So don't get too excited about it. I mean, if you don't raise your expectations, you can't be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? That's what I always say. So Medieval remake supposedly is going to be shown there. Like I said, the last State of Play presentation was themed pretty much solely around VR content, and there was an extreme backlash because some people were thinking it was going to be the second coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was going to be the E3 replacement for PlayStation, and then that didn't happen, and there's a lot of disappointed Sony players. So what do you think of State of Play? 10-minute presentation. What is going on? Why even do it at this point if it's 10 minutes? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually going to be that was going to be my next comment, dude. Look, here's the thing. I mean, look, I understand their first one. What was it, like 13 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that? And it's very strange, dude. I gotta say. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. I like Medieval. I played it on the I think it was the PS1, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm looking forward to the HD remake, because if it's anything like Ratchet and Clank was, it's gonna be another solid, strong Sony exclusive, and I will be there day and date. Hopefully, it's not $60. It's probably gonna be 30, and I'll jump all over that. But at the 10 minutes, I mean, my question is to you, Salt. Why even bother? I mean, you're right. You know, when we do our openings, we do our intros to our guests on our shows. Yeah. They're 15, 20 minutes.
Exactly.
I don't know what you can say for 10 minutes. You know, it's going to start. I swear, it's going to start and end. It's going to feel like you didn't watch anything. Really, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't know. Maybe just get a video out instead of doing a live show. It just seems kind of like a waste to me at that length, because like we have two different parties here. We have the Xbox, what was it, their live show that they do that's like 2 hours long inside Xbox. That's too long, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the polar opposite, the opposite side of the spectrum, 10 minutes long. It's just like a perfect show. Nintendo knows how to do it, let's be honest, right? Their shows, the way that they do it, it's a perfect way to go about it, okay? Because it's kind of this like 30-minute, 20-minute presentation, 25 minutes. It's structured well. It has a lot of good announcements, and I think that Xbox and Sony want to do stuff that's similar to that, but it's hard to reach that. So we'll see what happens with the State of Play. I'm not expecting too much, obviously, from 10-minute show. Like, what can you put in there unless it's just like bang, 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 like literally they're gonna have to open the show with like an intro and then boom, just trailer after trailer after trailer, which they did last time. But literally, if you think about it, the average trailer, like 2 minutes, so you're already at like, I don't know, four announcements or something like that. So
yeah, it's
stay tuned for that. But we got some Nintendo news, guys. The original Devil May Cry will arrive on Nintendo Switch this summer. That's been announced. Do you think you'll pick this up? I love Devil May Cry, but they have a history with these older games, bringing them out on the Nintendo Switch and charging ridiculous amounts of prices for them.
That's a big problem. Yes. Yeah.
So what do you think? Are you going to pick this up, or does it depend on the price?
Here's the thing. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I have the Devil May Cry collection on my Xbox One. The Switch is a great portable. If I saw Onimusha on sale, I would pick it up for like $10 to have it on the Switch, and I would probably play it through there because I really enjoyed Onimusha. Devil May Cry is, again, the Devil May Cry 1, fantastic. 2, not so much. They really kind of dropped the ball with that. 3, now, are they including 4 with this, or it's just 1, 2, and 3?
As far as I know, this is just the first Devil May Cry. So
it's okay. So I thought it was an actual collect. Yeah, it really does. It does. The price is gonna make or break this title. And you're right, with the Switch, something is off with the pricing. There's no doubt about it. What you're saying is very true. Their games, like the Resident Evil games, were $10 more on the Switch. I mean, why would you do that? That's crazy. So, yeah, would I pick it up eventually? On a sale? Sure. Right out of the gate, no.
Yeah, it seems like they're capitalizing on some of these more popular games and putting the older ports on the Switch, but it's kind of disappointing, like the gouging of prices, the way they do it, and it's difficult for these prices to come down on the Nintendo Switch. So so it's being sold separately from the rest of the games and not part of the Devil May Cry HD collection that arrived on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So it's just going to be the first one. So if you guys are fans of that and you want to experience it on the go, because that's the main draw here, I mean, being able to play these type of games on the go, at least for me, would be the draw there. But man, I don't see myself paying more than, I don't know, $15, $20 for this, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, they're just trying to capitalize on popularity, like I said. Let us know if you guys have a Nintendo Switch and if you guys are going to be picking up Devil May Cry. So there's a cool story. I know when I put this in the DMs, you were excited about it. Ghost Recon Reveal confirmed by Ubisoft to take place this Thursday. So tomorrow they're going to be revealing what looks like to be a new Ghost Recon title from Ubisoft. So in a tweet from the official Ghost Recon Twitter account, it was made official that Ubisoft will be debuting a new trailer for what looks like to be a new Ghost Recon game this week. The reveal is set to take place on Thursday, May 9th at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. There's a lot of things that we can talk about here, Boom, but what do you think about this announcement, and what type of Ghost Recon game do you want to see? Do you want to see a continuation of Wildlands, or do you want to see some future Soldier stuff? Do you want to go back to the traditional take? What do you think, man?
Look, here's the thing. I'm a huge, first of all, Ghost Recon Wildlands was very untraditional for the brand.
Yes.
I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. Multiplayer was great. Single player was great. They had fantastic, DLC, free DLC. They had the Predator. They had Sam Fisher. They have a new one. The Oracle just released last week. I haven't played it yet. I enjoyed it. But from what I've heard from different avenues is that this, in fact, is not Wildlands 2.
Yes.
So what that tells me as a Ghost Recon player is that they and it sold well. It sold extremely well, as a matter of fact, for them. And again, it did well for the brand. But I think what you were saying about Future Soldier, they need to go back to traditional Ghost Recon with the with the different tech and the squad based gameplay. I would really love to see a return to the classic Ghost Recon that we all know and love, that ruled the roost in the Xbox 360 days. And I hope that's the direction they're going, Salty.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people in chat talking about going back to a traditional game, and I think that that's the way they need to go, to be honest with you, because Ghost Recon Wildlands is still, it's a great game that they can continue to support. Like, they have the John Bernthal, whatever it's called, the DLC, right? Yes. So they can do it as a games as a service and then go back to that traditional route. The Future Soldier game, I remember that's one of my favorite. You know what I'm saying? And if they
Yes.
go back to that with that tech and the high tech situation, traditional gameplay, I think it's going to blow the roof off. One of the things that it kind of points out, though, is these companies are moving. I know a lot of us like E3. You're going to it, right? We treat it as the Super Bowl of, gaming events. But these companies are just revealing their products just randomly. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to dates or even reveals. Like Borderlands 3, for example, they chose a different venue and even option to talk about their game. Their gameplay reveal was just done recently. They had their own event, and you look at this announcement is separate. It's so close to E3, they literally could have waited, right? But they decided to get this information out there and do their own thing. I'm just wondering if E3 is even going to be a thing. Like, if companies decide to go this route, they decide to control their narratives and their events. Do you think this is just the way it's going to be with the industry going forward? Sony's pulling out of E3. Ubisoft's announcing a new Ghost Recon just randomly on a Thursday. What do you think going forward with the gaming industry? And do you think it's a good trend, or like, what are your thoughts?
You know what? I think, well, first of all, like Ubisoft always has an event, and they're not great. So some of the past events have been kind of bit of snooze fests. And I'm waiting. I'm actually waiting to find out, like, where I can apply to get a ticket for that show, because I've gotten lucky. I've gotten into every show except Xbox Fan Fest, which I don't want to talk about. That's a sore subject. Maybe there's still a chance I'll get into that, but I'm waiting for Ubisoft to do it. I think that when you start to see announcements like this, I don't think that you're going to see an industry change per se. What I think you're seeing is that the Ubisoft event, in my opinion, the last couple of years have been too long. And I think that this is a way to I think they have big announcements. I think a Splinter Cell announcement is coming. I really do.
Yes.
I think there's Assassin's Creed Ragnarok is going to be there big. You got Beyond Good and Evil 2 that we're waiting to see, plus a bunch of other hidden stuff that we don't know about. So this is, Ghost Recon is big, but to get little announcements out before E3, I think is good, because it gets the fan base excited.
So you're just talking about, like, kind of putting the cheese crumbs out for the
pretty
little
much
mice to come up and nibble and get excited for. Yeah, I see it as that as well. Man, it's interesting the way that trends go and things change. Before, because social media is so vast. It's powerful. People can have their own events and get as much pop and viewership, and they control the narrative as well. So I think there are going to be some in the industry that take opportunities just to have their own events, and maybe it's separate from E3. But there's so much gaming stuff going on. I think that you have the ability to continue to have E3 where it is, and then have more events spread out through the year, because with game releases before, there was like big chunks of time where there'd be just huge amounts of time with no games. You remember that? Just barren wastelands of deserts.
Months
but now, like, you look at it and it's like January there's games, February, March, April, May. May Rage 2's coming out. It's like, when's the last time? Like, look 5 years ago. And look at, like, what games are coming out in May. There wasn't games coming out in May, but one of the biggest game releases this year is coming out in May, which is insane because it's close to summer, and summer never was a month or even a time period that these companies would think about dropping these games. But there's so much competition out there that they're spreading out all these games throughout the year, so it just only makes sense that they need to put out the information throughout the year too, because you can't just like vomit all your information up one time in the year and then go about your business. You got to just spread it out so people are excited throughout the season. So I think it's just, we'll see what happens with these companies, but I think E3 will be just fine going forward. Let's get some Nintendo news. Nintendo Switch Online NES games leaked for May. There's some interesting titles here. We're going to get Donkey Kong Jr., Clu Clu Land, and Verse Excite Bike. What do you think about these offerings, man?
Well, I mean, look, first of all, you're paying $20 a year,
Mm-hmm.
and every month they're releasing games. Some months have 8 games. Some months, when it first started, and they're like 3, 4, 5 games. It's If you like classic gaming, if you are an NES fan like I was, like you were,
Mm-hmm.
you appreciate these. I mean, again, are we racing to our Switches to play? No, but the fact that they're there, that you could just sit on your couch and pop on a Excite Bike. And I played Excite Bike for freaking hours, man, and I could go back to it right now and have just as much fun. I think that being that it's there, it's great that at least the $20 a year that you're paying, you're getting all of these titles.
Yeah, It's nice to get these new NES titles in there. It's cool and stuff like that. But I want to see Super Nintendo titles in there. I want to see Nintendo
Yes.
64 titles in there. I think that the Nintendo Switch Online service would just explode in popularity if they were to do that. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat talking about that. Wild Bates was saying Nintendo 64. The thing is like that's such. They're gonna make a lot of money off of their Nintendo 64 products. So I've heard rumors out there that they might do a collection via like a game instead of doing like a classic console. So like release a Nintendo 64 collection in a game and sell it for
I wish they would.
60 whatever dollars and get it out to the public. They might do that. So I don't know what they plan, but eventually they're going to have to get some more products out there because there's only so many NES games that you can put into that service. Eventually you run out. It's kind of like Xbox games with gold. Eventually they had to put 360 titles in there and original Xbox One games. There's so many games you can put out there. So I really want them to go forward and put some other titles in there because I would play the hell out of some 64 games, but we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of Nintendo, there was a story that put out there because they were talking about financial reports as well, and Nintendo acknowledges the rise of cloud gaming but remains focused on hardware. If you guys didn't know, Nintendo was one of the first platforms to actually experiment with cloud gaming this generation. They were doing it with Resident Evil 7. I remember specifically when I read that story, I was like, man, that's got to run like ass, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know about cloud gaming too much back then, and actually it runs pretty well. And they actually had Assassin's Creed Odyssey running via cloud gaming as well on the Switch. So the company knows about cloud gaming, but they're focused on hardware. There's some quotes out there from Furukawa. I don't think all games will move to the cloud right now, but the technology is steadily advancing. In the future, I expect that technology such as the cloud and streaming will evolve further as a way to deliver games to consumers. We must keep up with such changes in the environment. So they're addressing the elephant in the room, which is cloud gaming, but they said, the technology is advancing, but as for us, we have our core values in unique and entertainment experiences. So they're going to be continuing to focus on hardware. What do you think of this, man?
I'm excited. I saw a video of Resident Evil 7 running on the Switch via the cloud, and I also seen Assassin's Creed Odyssey running via the cloud on the Switch. And I gotta be honest with you, dude, it looked phenomenal. You could not tell the difference of whether or not that was running on a PS4 or an Xbox One, and that just goes to show you that the cloud does all of the heavy lifting. And you could have a Switch that's extremely underpowered. But that's, you got to remember, that's only in Japan right now. That's not here in the States because, we don't have the structure that they do when it comes to online. Like, the U.S. is, I think, 10th in the world.
Yeah, it's bad.
And there's a lot to go to you until that's able to happen. But I think the fact that it's there is great. That they're looking into it because Nintendo, they're very traditional. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They are who we thought they were, right? Like that old,
Denny Green
Vikings, yeah, Danny Green, right? When he was the coach of the Cardinals. So it's I like that they're looking into it. but I like that they're not forgetting where they came from at the same time.
Yeah, it's a good approach because, like, if you kind of stick your head in the sand and act like that trends don't exist, you're gonna get left behind. So they're, slowly experimenting with some of this cloud gaming stuff, but at the same time, they know what their core values are and their core structure is. So it's like you can have your cake and eat it too, per se, because they're not like gonna push really hardcore into the cloud gaming right now because it's not where it needs to be. I just think they're in a perfect position because honestly, with the Nintendo Switch being kind of underpowered, it could take advantage of the cloud gaming because you have an underpowered system. So if you want to play third-party offerings, that's a way to do it without having to put all your money into making the hardware ridiculously pricey. You know what I'm saying? So going forward into the next generation, I think it could be a big thing for them because I don't see a next-gen Switch model coming out for Nintendo for a while. They're not going to be on this 2020 train that Xbox and PlayStation are on. They're going to be like, I don't know, 2022 or something like that. Who knows when they're going to actually put out a new model, because I think the Switch is going to be viable for a long time coming because they're not worried about the power struggle, you know what I'm saying? The resolution struggle or this and that. And who knows what the future holds with them. I do know that they're a traditional company, but they are changing their ways. They have a new president and stuff. So they were kind of set in their ways before, but I think that that's slowly changing with some of the things that they're doing. But let's move on to the next topic. Rage 2 has gone gold. So just to let you guys know, that game is ready to be shipped right now. And there's less than 2 weeks before the open world game comes out. I'm super excited about this game. This is going to be a day one for me. It's co-developed by Avalanche Studios and ID Software. id is responsible for the Doom games. You can definitely see their influence on some of the gameplay mechanics in this game. When I look at the way the guns look and the way they shoot, I'm reminded of a Doom game, and that's outstanding because Doom mechanics are freaking amazing. This game looks phenomenal, guys.
It does.
It's gonna sell like hotcakes, in my opinion. And it's crazy because we have a lot of post-apocalyptic offerings this year. Rage 2 is one of them. You got Metro Exodus was outstanding, and then Borderlands 3 was a surprise announcement. I'm excited for both of these. I think they stand out as different offerings. Just because they're post-apocalyptic doesn't mean they're the same thing by any stretch. You're going to be doing a single-player game in here. There's vehicles, a lot of focus on that. Craziness in both games. Borderlands 3 has co-op. It's cel-shaded. So what do you think about this game going gold? Are you going to pick it up day one? What are your thoughts?
I actually had this game pre-ordered and paid for on Xbox Live digitally since January of this year.
Ooh.
I tried to ask for a lot of gift cards over the holidays, Xbox Live, points or monies.
Yeah.
And I pre-order all the stuff up until what's available. And that was one of them. I'm a big ID Software fan. I love Avalanche Studios. I think they're very talented. And again, even though it has nothing to do with the original Rage, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
This game looks just bananas, man. It looks so freaking good. And the trailer that they released, I think it was last week, of what Rage 2 is, man, if you can't get amped for the gore, the explosions, and the different types of guns, which, of course, if you're an old Doom fan, the BFG is going to be making an appearance. How could you not get excited?
Yeah, and shout out to the chat. Lots of people look like they're excited for Rage 2. Let us know. Type a 1 in the chat if you're going to be getting it day one, or 2 if you're not interested. I think there's going to be a lot of people that pick this up. And there's going to be enough time in between these offerings. Like I said, they're extremely different, in my opinion. I haven't played them yet, obviously. But, man, I just love the things that they're doing with this game. I played the first Rage, and it was fun, but it's nothing like this game. There's going to be...
This game is over the top.
Different biomes, just the polish that it's on this game, the over the top, the gunplay, the vehicular gameplay, because the Avalanche Studios worked on what was it? God, I can't think right now. They worked on a popular game. What was it called? The Mad Max, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
they know what they're doing when it comes to vehicles and the post-apocalyptic stuff. That's a very underrated game, by the way. So when you combine the forces of id and them, man, I'm excited. Let us know if you guys are excited. Like I said, type a 1 or a 2 in the chat so we know. Let's move on to the next topic. So according to multiple reports out there, Microsoft shouldn't take all the blame for Scalebound, says Platinum. So interesting story. I did this a video for Patreon supporters. Shout out to them. Shout out to the members of the channel as well. Talking about this news story, it's interesting. So speaking to VGC in an interview, one of the higher ups from Platinum said it wasn't easy to watch as publisher Microsoft received the blunt of fan ire following cancellation news. Both sides fell, and ultimately the game didn't do all the things that we needed to do as a developer. Watching fans getting angry at Microsoft over the cancellation wasn't easy for us to watch, because the reality is when any game in development can't get released, it's because both sides failed. I think there are areas where, so anyway, 2 years after the fact, Platinum decides to come out in an interview and say, hey, we were part of the problem as well. The thing that I have problems with this whole situation is, why did it take you so long to accept your share of the blame? And I can answer that for you, is because they didn't want to tarnish anything when it came to the development of future games and projects. So they let Microsoft just get blasted in the media. When they sit back in a corner and don't say shit when the media is going ham on Microsoft, and then 2 years later they kind of accept the blame, I just think it rubs me the wrong way. What do you think, Boom?
I agree with you. I saw your tweet that you put out, and it was very apparent that you were upset with it. Most Xbox players were upset with it. I actually, again, it's not to sound like I'm running it, but it's a bit of a head scratcher. Like, first of all, legally, Microsoft could have went after them and made this a real public spectacle, and they chose not to. Now, why, I don't know. I've been seeing people say, well, Phil's not that kind of a guy, and you know what? That's true. If he had any word in it, he wouldn't have gone after them publicly for basically robbing them blind of the millions of dollars that they were investing into this new IP. But you also don't want to burn bridges with other developers, because you don't want them to be afraid to work with you. So I'm sure that was like one of the main reasons. But for them to come out and say this now, 2 years later, if I was Microsoft, I felt like I was kicked in the teeth, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You and I explicitly talked about this after the cancellation of this, saying that no, this was not Microsoft. Microsoft canceled the game, but they were bleeding everywhere. You know what I'm saying? There was no saving this. And what happened? Salty, Microsoft looked like the bad guy when it was clearly. I'm not saying that it was all Platinum's fault, but they were the developers, man, and they were dragging their heels working on other games and not this one. So yes, they should have taken the brunt of it, and they should have been more public about it.
Yeah, it's kind of falls on deaf ears at this point, and a lot of the people that blasted Microsoft, do you think they're going to go back and kind of apologize for just going ham on them and saying it was all their fault? Because I remember clear as day, because this was a big thing, and especially Angry Joe and his reaction that was kind of half-assed, because he really didn't give a shit about this game, to be honest. But just a lot of people just with the fake outrage and blaming. It's the clicks and all that other stuff. But it's just like, well, when the real story comes out, you guys have the same enthusiasm. Of course not. You don't have the same enthusiasm. You don't go retroactive and say, hey, I was wrong, or hey, there was more blame to be passed around. Because let's be honest, the Microsoft back then in the Xbox division back then isn't what the Xbox division is now. It's a completely different thing. But when people were seeing all these things happening, it was just like they didn't have the games to like fill in the gaps. So that time period, 2016, 17, and even some parts of 18, were barren. You know, they closed down Lionhead Studios, and then you got the announcement of the cancellation of Scalebound. I think the reason why people had so much outcry about this game is because it was so different from the portfolio that Microsoft had at the current time. You know, even me specifically, when I'm looking at this, it kind of has like a Devil May Cry feel to it with the main character. He actually even looks like a clone. The music, the I Love Dragons. So it was just a different type of game, and I think people were looking forward to it. But like I said, lots of fake outrage there. But I personally, if I was going to make a bold prediction for E3 and E3 announcements, I think with the amount of business trips that Phil's been making to Japan, I'm not going to be saying that he's going to be acquiring Platinum, obviously, but I think there's going to be some kind of Japanese developer or some kind of Japanese project exclusive or something like that that's going to be coming over to the Microsoft platform, and I think it's going to be huge for the company. That's just my prediction. It's a bold prediction. It's not, you know, facts or anything like that. What do you think, Boom? Do you think that's something that Microsoft could do? You know, reach out to a Japanese developer and try to get some exclusives on their platform for Game Pass and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, look, you have to look at what Phil Spencer's been up to. I mean, in the last 2 years, he's been to the Japanese regions over a half a dozen times. I mean, he's not going there on vacation. He's going there to meet with developers and you know, and lock down some deals.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just because it didn't work out with Platinum on this game doesn't necessarily mean, or should it mean, that they wouldn't work with them again. I mean, I think that's ridiculous. And I agree with you, dude. I think that Phil Spencer probably did in fact lock down some deals with some of these Japanese developers, which they should. And I wouldn't be afraid to work with Platinum Games again. The only thing is they're going to have to be very proactive, and the contract is going to have to state that their game is going to take paramount. You know, I mean, it's certainly not going to be like they did before. Microsoft just gave them carte blanche to do whatever they want.
No, see, Platinum came out with Nier Automata, and that released pretty soon after the cancellation of Scalebound. So there's lots of projects going on, but they do know how to put out some good games. I think there needs to be a lot more JRPGs in the lineup for Xbox. The offerings that they have are just slim to none, right? So I'm not saying specifically with Platinum. I'm just saying a Japanese developer, some kind of Japanese connection, having an exclusive that hits Game Pass. I think that'd be big for Game Pass. I think it's something that they need to do, and I think it's something they can do because like I said, they're trying to move out to the PC market and the mobile market and Xbox Game Pass and the cloud gaming situation. Like I tried to touch upon before, China's big with the mobile market and et cetera, et cetera. The way that you would reach out to that kind of a market is exactly the way that Microsoft is doing it, putting Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Live on cell phones or the cloud gaming, cloud streaming. So I think that's going to open up a lot of possibilities with some of these developers that they normally wouldn't have access to, you know, based on some of their stuff there. So yeah, let's move on to some more news. Capcom hit record high profits last year thanks to its run of amazing games. You know about Capcom, right?
Of course.
Like they just been killing it, man. I mean, can you name a publisher / developer out there that's been killing it more or has a better comeback story than Capcom, man? I mean, the list goes on and on. Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, Monster Hunter World. Just the Capcom games just are hitting it, and I love to see Capcom producing results like this. What do you think of this news, man? And where do you see them going forward? Like, what games are you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's rumors that we're going to be getting a Dino Crisis reboot. I'm super stoked for that. There are currently plans to have Resident Evil 3 remake, very similar to Resident 2. I'm stoked for that.
A new Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's talk of obviously Onimusha HD released. It sold very well for them, which is why they had record profits. With the Devil May Cry, Resident Evil 2, Onimusha, and everything they've released prior that's still selling well. So I'd like to see Onimusha reboot. rebooted, that would be fantastic. Again, I'm an old school cat, and I grew up with Capcom on the NES and the Super NES days, where they ruled the roost, right along with Konami. And in 2016, the company almost went out of business. They almost filed for bankruptcy, and thankfully that didn't happen, because that would have been devastating for the industry. To see them come back the way they did is like, you could write a book on the comeback story of Capcom, and you go all the way back to Resident 7, where people, including myself, were kind of like, man, you're changing RE to first person. I don't know. And it wound up being an incredible title, and they've just been hitting home run after home run ever since. It's really awesome to see, Salty.
Yeah, Capcom is one of those foundation franchises, in gaming. And it's funny that you mentioned Resident Evil 7, because I was skeptical as well, but once I played that, it kind of like ruined me for the other Resident Evil games because of the experience that I had with that first person experience in Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 is by far my favorite Resident Evil game ever made. It's just, I don't know what it was. It was something about that experience, the way that the close quarters and feeling claustrophobic, and that family that was in there, just being on edge, and it just felt like I was in there. And I didn't even play the VR version. Did you get a chance to do the VR version? Because I heard that was just crazy ass shit.
Well, what I did is I played the kitchen demo.
Okay.
Where it takes place after it's like a side story of what happens after the demo. And it was, you're tied down to a chair, and you could look around, and you're in this creepy basement with a lot of refrigerators and stoves and stuff. And the other guy, the cameraman is dead. You see him, he's down there. And then the interviewer, he's down there with you. And I got to tell you, dude, it was a lot to take in VR. There was a point where the guy gets decapitated, and the creature, the chick, rolls the head at you. I lifted up my feet as if it was going to hit my feet like a dummy.
Yeah, dude.
That's how real it looked. I tried playing, and I say tried. I played about an hour of Resident Evil 7 in VR, and you know what? After an hour, I was like, I hear you. If you can play the whole game in VR, good on you, but I'm not going to do it, because I want to make the NYPD pay this pension for years to come. So I'm not going to give myself a heart attack.
Yeah, man. I've heard rumors about their upcoming like Resident Evil 8 and stuff like that. Man, I can't wait for that, especially if it's like a continuation of that story and stuff like that.
It's supposed to be a continuation of that story, as a matter of fact.
Plus, I heard there's rumors that they might be working on a movie that's based off of Resident Evil 7, which would be crazy.
The real Resident Evil, yes. Not the stinky one.
No, not the cheesy ones and stuff like that, right? So it's just that setting. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's like a haunted house feel or some craziness going on. But yeah, I don't know if you guys knew this. This is kind of off topic, but the remake of that, the second part of that, the trailer is supposed to be dropping this week, and I'd love to see that in a video game.
Oh yeah, that'd be
going
terrifying.
Around and having it walking around, man. Holy shit! All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. So Microsoft is teasing a new AR Minecraft game similar to Pokemon Go. It looks like. So potentially you're gonna be able to walk around with your phone in your house and be able to play Minecraft in the mold of that. So moving your camera around, it kind of sees spatially what's going on in the room. So then you can see polygonal pigs walking around while in the mud, all kinds of interesting stuff. And then Microsoft's also teasing more information about Minecraft. I think it was one of the anniversaries of Minecraft. They're offering the original game for free. They're going to have a build conference for developers, which is going to be running from the 6th through the 8th, which is ending today. What do you think about AR Minecraft, man? Interesting. I think it's an interesting take. I wouldn't personally be interested in it, but maybe my kid would,
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, look, I'm not a big Minecraft dude. I have it. I bought it. I toyed around with it. It's just not my bag.
Yeah.
The AR part, though, I mean, I think it'd be interesting to try.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, Salty, I'm going to tell you this right now. I think the younger fan base is going to dig it.
Yeah, I think it's that Pokemon Go craze was something that I've never seen, honestly. Like people out and just packing parks, dude. Like me and my wife were doing it. Like people were outside looking at their phone, playing shit. Like I've never seen gaming ever happen like that. Like it
That
only
was a
happened.
phenomenon for
It
sure.
only happened for a small time, but to see something like that go on, it's crazy. So I think that AR technology is pretty cool. Like to have a Pokemon sitting where you're looking in your camera is cool. So I think Minecraft doing that would be pretty interesting. Speaking of Microsoft, I saw this tweet put out there by Microsoft themselves. They said Microsoft has a long history in gaming. It starts with putting the gamer and the game developer at the center. Xbox Live is the most broadly used social network in gaming with 63 million users. Hashtag MSBuild. What do you think of this tweet?
Well, I mean, 63 million, people using Xbox Live. I mean, what does that say?
Yeah.
That says that it's a big success. I mean, that you have a significant amount of people using Xbox Live on the Xbox One. Still, people playing on the Xbox 360 and other versions of Xbox Live on PC. That is a tremendous number, and this is why they're posting record profits each and every year for the paid service. Of course, not for PC, but for the 360 and the Xbox One, you're paying for Xbox Live Gold. I mean, I don't mind paying. I mean, I've been an Xbox Live Gold subscriber for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's second nature for me, but that's a big deal.
Yeah, shout out to D Rob with the $2 super chat. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's interesting that they put this figure out there because there's a lot of people that say Microsoft picks and chooses what they want to put out there with their information. But I think it's a big figure to look at when it comes to how many users are using Xbox Live. Because if you look at like some of the figures of how many Xbox Ones have been sold, it's around 40 million, right? Depends on who you talk to. So that's a significant amount of additional people out there using Xbox Live, and obviously that's not all the paid version, but I think it's a huge part of what is going to go forward with these companies, because you have Nintendo Online now. That's a subscription service. You have PlayStation, they have their service. You have Xbox that has their service. So these services are big going forward. So that's why I brought up that tweet, just to kind of point out what's going on with Microsoft. So let's talk about the Halo Master Chief Collection real quick. Another Microsoft story. So it's going to support cross saves on PC, but it won't support cross-platform play at launch, which is pretty interesting and intriguing to me. So cross saves is cool. So you can save on a console and then go pick it up on a PC. That's cool, because I have a PC. Maybe I'll play it on my PC. Doubtful, but some people could take advantage of that. But you're not going to be able to play cross-platform play at launch. What do you think, man? What do you think of this whole thing with Master Chief Collection?
The thing is this. First of all, I've been saying from the beginning, people love the term crossplay. I want crossplay.
Yeah.
Crossplay is not is important, but it's not that important. Cross progression is the key factor.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, the fact that that's there now,
awesome.
I think is more important than crossplay. Crossplay will eventually get there, but at the same time, you got to remember, crossplay, you're asking to go up against people who are going to be using mouse and keyboard, and that's one of the biggest things that we've all been complaining about with Sea of Thieves, right? We want the toggle switch so we don't have to play against PC players, because listen, regardless of how good you are with the controller, there's still a tactical and functionality, a better functionality with a mouse and keyboard when it comes to a first-person type of game. And again, I actually applaud 343 Studios for doing cross progression first, because if you are a person who has started playing on your Xbox One through the Master Chief Collection, and you want to have a bigger, beefy PC rig, you're like, well, I want to play with the better graphics or whatever. You can go right to your PC and all your stuff comes over with you. I think that's more important, Salty.
Yeah, man, it's just options, and I think that a lot of people are worried about the cross play when it comes to PC and Xbox because it's being moved towards that area. Xbox is PC, PC's Xbox.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite is for sure going to launch day and date. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. They'll figure it out, man. They'll figure out a toggle switch and all that good stuff. Let's move on to the next Microsoft topic. It's kind of a weird topic here. Microsoft outlines acceptable trash talk and new community guidelines. So acceptable trash talk includes "get destroyed," "can't believe you thought you were on my level," "that was some serious potato aim, get wrecked," "only reason you went positive was you spent all game camping, try again kid," "cheap win, come at me when you can actually drive without running cars off the road," "that sucked, get good and then come back when your KD's over 1." So those are acceptable trash talk in the community. What do you think of this, man? What do you think of this story?
I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. I like that they're being proactive in regards to how what's acceptable, what's not, because I've been on the back end of some real nasty banter. And of course, you're going to get the racial nonsense, which I immediately report those people.
Yes.
You mentioned a race word, race, creed, color, religion, sexuality. I report you. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Don't do it in my presence. Otherwise, I will report you because that's unacceptable behavior.
Exactly.
If you're better than me and you want to kind of call me out on that's cool. I'm okay with that. But what you were the examples you gave, I think were fine. I don't think they're really nitpicking too much. I think that when you start using the profanity and belittling, then you're kind of like ruining what online gaming is supposed to be. So don't be that jerk.
Yeah.
But I like what they're going with this, dude.
Yeah, it's weird to me because I can't tell you the last time I've been in game chat. Like, I just don't do it anymore. I know it exists. Like,
I chat with my friends, dude. That's who I talk to.
Yeah, I think if you poll the majority of gamers right now, they would say they either are in a party or they don't participate in game chat. So I think it's just they're covering their bases here, dotting their I's and crossing their T's. They know it's gonna, like, how hard would it be to punish someone based off of what they said? It's not like it's recorded, right? So they can punish people when it's like messages, and maybe that has to do with like their messaging, because like when it's done over voice communication, it's kind of he said, she said, and then when you kind of try to break it down into phrases, it's like, well, what if someone uses a different phrase or adds a word in there? Obviously, what you're saying, like the racial stuff and all that other stuff, is definitely a no-go. But it kind of made me chuckle. I'm not gonna lie, right? This stuff, it was a funny thing to me because I know from gamers deep down inside from the dark days. I remember it's ridiculous. Like online, when you give the people the ability to talk freely in chats, like game chats back in the day, man, Call of Duty was ridiculously toxic. But man,
it was terrible.
Yeah. So as I see where they're going, but I don't think it could be enforced by any means. But anyway, we got 2 more topics and then we'll be getting out of here. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new, and let us know about these topics if you guys are watching on demand, and what you like, what you don't like, all that good stuff. So one of my favorite games out there this generation is Dead Cells, and it's going to be going to mobile this summer. I think this game fits perfectly for mobile. Like I was saying, some games that I couldn't see myself playing on mobile, and those are FPS games, but this game is pretty simple, but it's difficult, if that makes sense. And the controls, I can see me playing on mobile, and I actually probably will pick this up on mobile because I'd like to play it on my phone if I'm bored, right? Pull my phone out and play some Dead Cells. What do you think about Dead Cells going to mobile?
I was actually a little surprised by the story. The game has very Twitch-like controls that are needed to beat the bosses, but just to kind of traverse the level.
Yeah,
I don't know if that how well that's going to translate. I can tell you this. there's going to be a lot of broken phones.
It's true. Yeah.
I can say that
Make
right
sure
now.
you have insurance on your phones, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but I think it's going to be good for the company because Dead Cells. I didn't pick it up because it's just those punishing games. Not really for me, but if I get it on sale, I may eventually pick it up. It's going to be a good fit on mobile. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it will do well on mobile, man. Last topic of the evening/afternoon or morning, wherever you're at in the world. Shout out to everybody around the world. We're going to be talking about the release dates for Xbox, the Scarlet family, and PS5. Interesting things coming out of AMD's camp. CEO Lisa Su spoke about the company's partnership with Sony specifically, and she mentioned that the projects that are going on behind the scenes are going to cause an uptick in business for 2020. And you guys got to focus on that date. We've talked about multiple things coming out that 2019 is not going to be the year based off of what Sony said, because they said next-gen consoles are not coming out at least for a year. So her saying that there's going to be an uptick in business for 2020 is interesting, because she said specifically 2019 has seen a bit of fall in business for AMD. So if you're seeing 2020 seeing extreme growth, you can kind of put two and two together. So without referring to any particular customer, it might suggest that they're partnering with both Sony and Microsoft for their respective consoles, and then that they would be coming out in late 2020. What do you think of her quotes here, Mr. Boomstick?
I think that she's 100% right. I mean, obviously, there isn't a lot going on with AMD right now, and they're going to be doing a big push. I got to give a big shout out to Mojo Blues in the chat. He says that he believes that Microsoft is going to be releasing the Anaconda in October, whereas Sony is going to be releasing the PS5 in November. And I think that's a great pick. First of all, if I were Microsoft, I would release it then as well, a month before Sony does theirs. In regards to sales, I mean, look, I don't know what the sales numbers are going to be, because the hardcore are going to be the ones spending the money in 2020. But if they sell 10 million consoles between both, I'm not saying who's going to be the winner or the loser here. I'm just saying that if they sell 10 million consoles, that's a lot of business for AMD. And the more consoles they sell, the more they have to keep printing out those chips, and the more they're going to be banking all that loot, dude. So 2020 is going to be big.
Yeah, man. They're going to be profiting from this partnership, and it's interesting that both consoles are going to be using the same chips and all that good stuff going forward. But I think the writing's on the wall at this point. You know what I'm saying? You can mark it down. I don't think that these consoles are going to be dropping in the same month. I don't think. Maybe they could be a couple weeks apart. Who knows? But it's going to be pretty close there, and the holiday seasons are going to be nuts. So if you're saving up for a next-gen console, kind of circle the time period for the holidays of 2020. Save up a good $500, $600, $700 for that, because it's not just buying the console. You got to buy games, you got to buy this and that. It's just, there's more that goes into it. So save all your pennies in the penny jar, because that is more than likely when these consoles are going to be coming out. But yeah, that's going to do it for our topics, man. Today flew by. Hour and 30 minutes just went by like nothing. Great topics, great conversation as usual. Boom, I know you have a cool video coming out. Tell people where they could find you and what's going on the rest of the week for you.
Well, I have, yeah, sure. Well, first of all, find me on Twitter at Mr. BoomstickXL. The DM is open to everyone. I talk with, I get DMs almost, 3 and 4 a day. I talk to everybody. If you want to reach out to me and ask me questions about anything, I'll answer you. Check out the Double Barrel Gaming. The channel has been on fire. Last week, I had over 5,000 views on 4 videos, 3 live shows and 1 unboxing. It was the most success this channel has ever seen. That's thanks to you guys. And I'm doing an unboxing of the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Collector's Edition. So, yeah, I know it's a little older, but when you find out what I paid for it, you're going to fall through your chair. So that's going to be going up in about an hour or so, as soon as I finish editing the video. and I'm going to be on the Basement Radio Arcade tonight.
Nice.
We're going to be talking about Randy Pitchford's possible legal trouble. And I will be putting on the police hat once again to break down the 3 crimes that he's being accused of, and what's going to happen if he actually is investigated by numerous police departments, because it's obviously the what he's being accused of happened in different locations. So tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Basement Radio Arcade podcast to hear Boom put the police cap back on.
Awesome, man. You guys, make sure you subscribe to Boom. I'll put all the information in the description and the comment section, so you guys can find out where to subscribe to him. As far as this channel goes, it's man, we're doing extremely well. A crazy amount of new subscribers, and if you are one of those new subscribers, I appreciate you very much. If you're interested in becoming a member of the channel, it's that blue join button. What you get a lot of interesting awesome perks there. You got some emojis, member badges. Appreciate all the members in the chat as well, and all the Patreon supporters. We're thankful for everybody that's been here. So make sure to hit that like button and share it out to all your friends if you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, you can hit the dislike as well. The Saltiest Gaming podcast is going to be on tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, just like usual. We'll have the classic Salty panel there. Titan's going to be yelling for sure, and you know, we'll all be bringing some awesome show there. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys have a good hump day and all that good stuff. Have a good time gaming, and as always, stay salty, my friends.
Take care, everyone. Have a great